All right, so moving on into round 9. Um, he bought 11 infantry, a tank, and a bomber. Let's see, he put the tank and infantry down here in Italy, plus another one. As you can see, he moved down here as I was kind of predicting he would. 5 infantry and a bomber to Germany up here, and 4 infantry to Caucasus. So the thing with this is because he can use his transports to pull these guys, even though it seems like only 4 at the front line, really it's 8 units that he's producing at the front line for Germany this turn that we got to try to find a way to match, if you will. So some key points here. Um, C-Zone 23, this bomber 1, 2, 3, 4 cannot get to. The fighters down here, of course, can if they continue to be. We're going to have 4 boats there with his 2 fighters. These bombers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cannot reach there, so we're going to have to be comfortable with that. Bombers in Caucasus, as you can see, this is the center of the board and where he's starting to accumulate his bombers at, right? And the reason being, bombers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can land in either one of these. So if we don't take both of these, then this C zone is threatened by both sets of bombers. So we now have 9 bombers focusing on C zone 8, and I only got 1 transport, right? Now, I'll be able to use, if I want to, I'll be able to use one of my US transports to come and take Northwest Europe, and that'll, solidify things. Probably not going to do that because I'm hoping to come back to USA and pick up units from there and grab these guys and bring them to the south. So I'm hoping not to have to do that, but for building for the future, since it looks like he wants to put his bombers here, I really want to be able to take these 2 regularly and be trading these 2 until he can build up enough here that he can move a stack over, which is the next step for the Axis, is to stack one of these so that then that becomes an issue. So then you say, well, let's move to C-Zone 3, but the problem is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So the bombers will continue to threaten there, and you can't be here because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way to Berlin. So, we're on a clock against these bombers. Either we got to build enough boats in air to counter the bombers, or we got to keep enough to take both of these territories each turn, which again, he's building his stack here to move a stack pivot over in all reality. So that's going to become an issue. And then these bombers on the other side, while they're staying in Caucasus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or, good old Formosa if they have to. So they are threatening C-Zone 36 at the same time as essentially threatening C-Zone 8, my 2 main points of loads. So Germany adding bombers and Japan adding bombers is going to add pressure to the U.S. So it may turn out that we won't be able to use our factories efficiently as Amund was pointing out into the video I did on the mid-game, late-game KJF strategy. Nonetheless, I find this factory to be invaluable for dropping 2 boats or 2 planes right into the C-Zone 36 when it's needed. So there may be times where we got to shift off of here and come get here while we build up some boats and then come back. So it may not be a pure shuck here like I would like it to be because we're going to have to mix it up. But the good news is he's building bombers, he's building boats. So maybe we can get enough ground on here to make it work. Now, the boo-boo, the mistake, the what was I thinking, you fool. And that's by putting my 3 fighters in here, right? So, that whole idea to dead zone the Japan Navy so that I can get rid of this Navy and I can stop worrying about him merging his two navies together. And in doing so, I completely forgot about his 5 bombers. 1, 2, 3, and for that sake, the fighter 1, 2, 3, and for that sake, these 2 fighters 1, 2, 3, and the little UK artillery is not going to take Egypt on its own, right? In addition to that, he can throw a transport in, grab these 2 guys, and put them in there to minimize his air losses with that air raid. And if he really wanted to, he could send a battleship there, his battleships up there with it to bombard and really make this a nice clean kill of these 3 fighters. So I don't know if this move is going to be the smartest move or not. We're going to make it and we're going to hope for it to be the smartest move, but we're going to double down on Sudan here. As you're going to see, we are going to kill these guys. It means we're going to have to trade a little bit expensively with our UK guys, heavier than I would particularly like to, but I think it'll be for the positive, as it turns out. And then, like I said, we're going to see what we do about the Egypt-Sudan showdown, because even if we survive with what I'm going to do, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull it over. Oh, did I not save it? Maybe I didn't save it. Here we go. So, just to show, if I land 2 UK fighters in there and I kill those Japan infantry, this is what it leaves him at. So, yes, he can kill my fighters and ruin my plans for dead zoning and killing the Japan fleet, but it's going to cost him. And that's even true if he even just attempts a 1-round shot at it. It's still going to be pretty costly. The problem is that's putting 2 UK fighters into that zone. If I did 1 UK fighter into that zone, it's a -9. Still a -9, but essentially he's pretty much guaranteed to clear it, whereas the other one was a 50-50. And so that ruins the fleet plans. So I'm leaning towards going ahead and putting both fighters into there. But then what that leaves me is that's going to leave me so say Japan holds off, US gets a turn, we use these fighters to kill this, that leaves me 2 UK fighters facing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 4 bombers, 2 fighters of Germany now. And so then we're going to have to figure out how do we kill these guys and get enough support in here to hold that, and then be able to support the next time. So we're going to get into a cycle here. I think I'm going to be okay. In that worst case scenario, I may have to throw a transport to carry 2 ground units for protection and sacrifice a transport, which is obviously not ideal, but if that saves value in planes, then we may have to do that. So kind of complex. I walked myself into a corner there a little bit, and I am going to have to be building heavily down here still because of the double bombers in this situation. The other thing that I'm, in addition to going this way, I need to start trying to creep up the coast to try, if I can get these coastal territories, then that takes off the bombers off of here. So, or at least one set, and then trading. So, anyways, we'll get it figured out, and onward we go. So, 3 infantry coming down here. I am going to build that second transport up here, and I'm going to get a fighter going. I'm going to go ahead and build some extra infantry so that the next turn I can focus on just buying naval and air units in round UK 10, because I'm sure I'm going to need to. So a lot said there. The reason I mentioned about the 23 is the fact that hopefully I'll be able to have my US transports going connection here. And as long as he's not stacking these, then his bombers can't threaten me. From there, at least. From Caucasus, they can't. All right. So I hate to just throw the tank in there, but because I don't have any Air Force over here, I want to get a decent kill. This gives me a 92, 93, 94%, something like that chance of a take. Unfortunately, he's going to be able to, take it back efficiently, whether he does it with Japan or Germany. But in this moment, it's too important to kill these guys, so gotta kill those guys. I wish these guys could reach Egypt, but they cannot. An interesting move here for Japan, I'm just going to throw this out there, is if he moves all of this into C-Zone 34, wipes this guy, right? And then builds a navy over here. And so then this navy sitting here, do we go that way or do we go that way? Be an interesting move. I mean, I know what I'd do, but all right. I think that's our 2 attacks. So let's roll them. Oi. Oi, oi. Quadruple oi. That's not what I need going into this. I need that money from France. I was kind of counting on that money for France. Oi. Oi, 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 oi. Interesting. So I'm going to have to do some calculating and thinking here, because I didn't expect to take that cleanly. So we are going to put those 2 guys in there. We're going to be coming up this way with everybody else. So here's my debate and what I'm going to need to do. I'm going to set the calculator, so I'm just going to tell you guys, because I'll probably forget when it comes to U.S. turns to double check this. So keep an eye on Persia. I'm going to check and see if moving all 3 of these guys in versus them is worth it. And then we've got 7 and a tank and at least these 2 fighters, these guys, if any of them live, that could come in here. Could we take Persia? And that would be great to try and put pressure on his twin towers here. I don't know if it's doable. I have to look. I could even, again, throw a transport into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the bombers hitting there. And these fighters going 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could wipe that out with using a transport. And that would leave him these attacks. So there's a lot to that, because it's going to be, it's going to be Japan, then US, then Germany, and then UK. Getting to move 3 more guys in, and then Japan, and then US, and it's going to be an upward cycle to where it's either going to go really good or it's going to go really bad. And I need to sit down and really think about that. So keep an eye on Persia. When I do US's turn, if you see 6 infantry there, then we are going to be moving more into there and doubling down into Persia. So right now, not sure if we do it or not, but just keep an eye on it.